tricks guy here, and I'm going to show you how I use manual focus for video. And I'm using the A7R II with the Loxia 50mm manual focus lens. Now this lens works great for video. It's fantastic when paired with this camera body, but we're going to go through all the steps. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the camera on. And if you don't know how to do this, you may really need some help. So you turn the camera on. Once the camera's on, what I then do is look at the camera's viewfinder. And I want to make sure, obviously, that everything's level. So I've got it set up where I've got a little thing right there that shows where I'm level. And you can notice that the tip of the monopod in the camera's field of view. Now what that represents where I'll stand when I'm face on video. Because obviously with a manual focus is a product of distance from the camera's lens to the subject being filmed. So looking at the top of the lens, or first before we do that, notice that I'm in the video mode. I've got it in the little, looks like a little film strip right there. But looking at the top of the lens, there's a couple of settings. Right now you can see I'm in 2, which that stands for f2. Now see, I can go all the way to f22, and you'll notice when I do that, as I turn this, it says f22. Even though this is a manual focus lens, it shows the f-stop within the camera. So that's what makes this manual focus lens so sweet when paired with the A7R II. So I'm going to do f2 because I really want to defocus the background. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the focus, which is the front ring right here. See, that's the focus. I'm going to use the focus, and since I have focus peaking on, see, watch that monopod. See, now it's out of focus, but the objective is to turn it and to get as much yellow as I can. And that's just an indication. I'm going to stop talking for a second while I do it. See how much yellow that is? So that's an indication that once I stand in place of that tripod, that I should be perfectly focused. So now what I'm going to do, this is another trick, and I've got the Play Memories app installed on my iPhone. I'm using the iPhone 7 Plus right now. But I hit menu, and then I go to Application List. And then once I'm in Application List, I go to Smart Remote Embedded. And now what will happen is that my phone will pair with my A7R II, and it becomes a viewfinder of sorts. So what I'll do, and you won't see this part on the video, but you'll see the product of the quality because I'm going to switch it to the A7R II camera. But what I'll do now is I'll fire up the app, and I'll walk over here to where the monopod is that's perfectly focused, and I will pick up the monopod and stand in the place of the monopod, and then I should be perfectly focused. And I can confirm by using the Play Memories app on my iPhone 7 Plus that A, that I'm perfectly focused, and B, that I'm where I want to be within the frame, the camera's field of view. You know, I'm not, my head and my arms aren't going outside of the frame, but then again, I'm not so far back that there's a lot of empty space, because that's equally bad. So you can make adjustments as needed. You know, maybe you need to stand closer to the camera. Maybe you need to stand further away. I think right now I'm probably about 5.5 feet, which for what I'm doing with this face on video that I'm about to flick to, I think it's pretty much perfect. And notice, when I was in the background, I was very out of focus. What I'm going to do now is stand right where this tripod was, and I'm going to move the tripod out of the camera's field of view. And I'm going to stand right there. I just marked the dirt with my feet. But see, now you can see that I should be pretty much perfectly focused. And I don't know how well you can see it within this video, but this is the Play Memories app. So when I walked over here, and I was confirming, because obviously I'd already manually focused the camera, I'd use this this monopod to manually focus. I use this as a stand-in for me. So I'd already done that. But then when I walked over, now I can tell that I feel that I'm perfectly centered within the frame. So I've got a little bit of room over my head. I've got a little bit of room on each side of my arms. This is an f2 aperture, which for this particular lens, and check the link within this video's description, you can find this 50mm lens and also the camera body, tripod, and this little monopod rig that I'm using. But it's not that difficult once one gets past all of the jargon, because when you start out with cameras, whether it's stills or stills and video, it's a complicated, or not really, it is complicated, but it's one of those things that there's mosquitoes everywhere out here. I'm in the wilderness. It's one of those things that once it starts to make sense, it starts to make sense, because right now I'm in an f2 aperture. That's the most blurred I can get this background with this lens, and that's what I wanted in this video. That's the look that I wanted. But I could increase the aperture and see everything behind me as well. And also by doing that, that would increase what's called the depth of field, because with this more shallow depth of field, that's the distance from the front of me and the distance behind me. When I'm using f2, I don't have that much room to move around. So for example, if I walk towards the camera, you'll notice how quickly I get out of focus. And then when I walk back, you'll notice that when I get to this place that I marked right here, that now I should be perfectly focused now, somewhat perfectly focused. So you're not actually focusing upon an object. You're using an object as a stand-in for somebody. If you're doing a solo filming, if you had the other person, you could just focus while they were standing there. But you're focusing its distance from the subject to the lens. So even though it's easy to confuse oneself into thinking, oh, I'm focusing upon an object and it's sticking to that object. It's not doing that. All that it's doing is sticking to that distance from the camera's lens. So once you think of it from that perspective, and if you follow this procedure, you can probably get pretty good results like I'm getting right now. And again, the equipment's kind of expensive, but it's like anything else. You typically get what you pay for, but it's learning to know how to use it. And once one learns how to use it, then they can add additional lenses to their kit. They can upgrade their audio and do a whole lot more. And you can find the microphone that I'm using within this video's description as well. But I feel that it works great with this camera body for this filming scenario. So tell me what you think. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/iRickSky, and share this video and any of my videos with others. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Hey y'all, iRickSky here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.